Hellcat.
Welcome to episode 1 of the Big Fights Fan podcast. This will be a quick video just to introduce you to what's going to happen over the course of the next however many episodes we manage to do. You'll notice on the Facebook page and the Instagram that I've started the podcast, I'm starting the YouTube channel, mainly midlife crisis. Secondly, I talk so much about combat sports that why not put it out there for everybody else to see and listen to as well. So the podcast will be going live, the YouTube channel will be going live, Facebook is already live, Big Fights Fan, and Instagram at Big Fights Fan. Okay, so welcome to all of those, and all of those will be accessible in the links below the video. Just follow those, go on, give them a like, a follow, or whatever it is you do. So what we'll be bringing? Well, we'll be talking about boxing, we'll be talking about MMA, we'll be talking about bare knuckle boxing, everything in between. So, you know, pit fighting, we'll be looking at the Woe Tour from over in Poland. We'll be having interviews, I'll be doing fight picks on upcoming big events, maybe some of the local events as well. Obviously, we're going to be waiting out on whether or not this lockdown ever ends. It seems to be just extending and extending, but hopefully the end is in sight. People start getting vaccinated and we can start having some more local shows and some bigger events without the hiccups of the lockdown as well. We'll be doing some competitions, whether that be for time on air or on the podcast, shall we say, whether that's interviews, whether that's merchandise, whether it's advertising, whatever it is. I'll see what you guys want, what you ladies and guys want, and then we'll go from there. I'll be doing reviews of events that have happened over the weekends when they tend to happen, and I'll probably be doing some reactions from those events as well. Hopefully, and I've got a few lined up already, we're going to have some trainers, some fighters, some coaches and some promoters in to do some interviews. It's a bit up in the air at the moment, purely because of the lockdown, and there are people still shielding, or there are people doing other bits and pieces while they're waiting for fights, or while they're waiting for their fighters to be tuned up. Obviously, the delay in the UK boxing scene has happened, and that's in effect until February. So we'll have to go from there. I know Elite Sports has been okayed to carry on, but I think it's just up in the air at the moment. Hopefully we'll be travelling, doing some interviews, some amateur shows as well, those being MMA and boxing, and I've touched base with a few of the coaches, trainers that I know, and they're sort of on board for me to come and do some interviews with themselves, potentially some of the boxers as well. So just to sort of whet your appetite, if you like, we'll look at the main events that are coming up this month in the UFC. So we've got UFC on ABC, which is Holloway versus Qatar. Holloway has had a bit of I wouldn't say a drop in form at all. He had some really close fights with Alex Volkanovski. Now, whether you agree or not that he won those fights, at the end of the day, Volkanovski is in the win column, and it's him that the belt is wrapped around. Okay, so him versus Qatar. It's an interesting one because I think a lot of people are discrediting Holloway a little bit and forgetting that actually he's one of the greatest featherweights that's ever lived, and the guy's still young as well. But, bouncing back from those 2 decision losses, maybe he's made some changes to his game. Who knows? I follow him on social media, and he seems to be having a great time, but he also seems to be training real hard as well. Calvin Qatar, been talked about for a long time as a bit of a dark horse. He had that loss to Zabit, but if you watch the fight, it was a 3-round fight, and Zabit really tired in the third, and Calvin come on strong there. I think if that was a 5-round fight, it would have been very different. So Holloway versus Qatar in a 5-rounder, I think it's going to be really interesting. It's a real acid test, if you like, for Qatar, because we're going to see how good he really is. And for Holloway, it's to redeem himself a little bit, hopefully get back in the win column, make a few little tweaks to his game so he can challenge Volkanovski for that UFC title again, depending on what happens with Volkanovski and potentially Brian Ortega as well. Moving on from that, then we've got UFC Fight Night, which is now Michael Chiesa versus Neil Magny. Leon Edwards versus Khamzat Chimaev was obviously meant to headline that card, but with Khamzat still suffering from COVID long, should we say, or the effects of COVID, that's now going to be rebooked for later on in the year. I would have preferred for Leon Edwards to stay on the card. I think he's been out of the game too long. People are not seeing him. He hasn't got a huge fan base outside of the UK anyway. However, he's a top class elite MMA operator. I don't think he gets as much credit as what he's due. And for the people that think Khamzat Chimaev is going to run through Leon Edwards, I really do think that you're going to get a bit of a wake-up call, because Leon Edwards is absolute top draw. We'll see that when it comes. But back to what is now the main event, Chiesa versus Magny. I don't know how this is going to go. I like Neil Magny. I think that he's an absolute company man. He puts on good fights. He seems to build up a nice win streak and then never progress any further or come up against that person that's just that elite level just a little bit too high. He seems to be a sort of perennial, almost contender, if you like. Michael Chiesa, obviously, he was absolutely huge in the lightweight division. He stepped up, been on a bit of a tear in the welterweight division. Again, I like him. I watched him on The Ultimate Fighter and became a fan. So I like both of these guys. How do I see the fight playing out? I think Neil Magny has the advantage in the striking department. And I think over 5 rounds, remembering that this was meant to be a 3-round co-main event and it's now the 5-round main event, I think that could play into it a little bit. I'm not expecting either one to get tired, or I'm definitely not expecting them to show that they're tired. I think that both of these fighters fight with loads of heart, loads of grit and determination. Hence the reason why I think their styles are not great. I think Magny's volume striking versus Chiesa's grind, if you like, is not necessarily the greatest to watch. However, when I think we combine these, I do think it's going to be a good fight. Chiesa obviously has the advantage in the grappling situation, and Magny has been known to let people get the underhooks if you look back at some of his fights as well. But on the other side of that, Michael Chiesa has he doesn't bother checking his leg kicks. He doesn't mind getting hit, and I think that could play into Neil Magny's strengths there. For me, I think it will be a Neil Magny 5-round decision. But who knows how that fight could end up. And then finishing off January, we've got a UFC 257, which sees the return of Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier, number 2, now in a lightweight division. What to say about this fight? If you say anything bad about Conor, people jump down your throat. However, you can't deny that the guy is absolute top draw. Just look at his pay-per-view numbers, and they're off the chart. I think he's got 3 or 4 of the highest ever pay-per-views out of the top 5, that is, in the history of the UFC, which is crazy. Coming off of that win against Donald Cerrone. Now, I didn't know what to make of that fight. He fought Donald Cerrone, obviously at welterweight. Did he look good? I don't know. Is Cerrone, is he now a veteran, a too long in the tooth veteran, and isn't the fighter he was? Probably. How does that relate or correlate across? I don't know. So we don't really know where Conor's at. He's been training hard. He looks good. He's in shape. I've looked at a few of his training videos. His coach, John Kavanagh, has said that he's in absolute tip-top condition, and he looks it as well. I just don't think we got to see as much as we would have liked to have seen when he fought Cerrone, purely because he dispatched him so quick. And hey, I could be wrong. It could be that he's that good that he just dispatched him with ease. Poirier, to start with, is not the same fighter that Conor fought when they fought in the featherweight division, where he put him away in about 2 minutes of the first round. Dustin has improved on that. Remember, he's still young. He's only 31 years old. I think that Poirier has got a lot better. He's clocked up some really good wins as well. He's obviously got that loss to Khabib. Khabib being probably the greatest lightweight, definitely at the moment. But with it all being up in the air, is Khabib coming back? I don't know. Is he ever going to come back? I don't know. I don't think anybody knows apart from Khabib and maybe his mum. So Conor, Poirier 2. I don't think that Conor is going to run through Poirier like he did in the first fight. However, I think that Poirier lets himself get emotional, and Conor is the absolute master of mind games. He potentially, if he gets the chance and they start having the press conferences and the pre-fight talks, I think he's basically going to rent a spare room in Dustin Poirier's mind. And that will cause Dustin to start fighting emotionally. I think for Dustin to win, he has got the advantage in the grappling realm. However, he likes to stand and bang, and his boxing is pretty crisp. Dustin's boxing is pretty good. It's not at the level of Conor's, but it was enough to stop Gaethje and dominate some of the other top lightweights as well. I just think that Dustin will fight emotionally, which will be his worst enemy. I think his only chance of winning is to stay calm, collected and cool, and fight a smart fight against Conor. Conor is just so good at getting into fighters' heads that the mind games are really gonna come in. Dustin's gonna come in emotional and try and put him away, leaving himself open to Conor's X factor, if you like, or Conor's special tool in his box, which is that left hand. And I just think, he's not going to do it quickly, but I see a Conor TKO round 3, round 4, sort of midway through the fight. As soon as Dustin gets emotional and starts swinging, he's just going to leave himself open for that counter shot. And I believe as he gets tired, in the sort of middling rounds, I think Conor will land that, and that'll be it. So, sort of to add to what we've done, that is the initial video. Merely a welcome. I hope that some of you like and subscribe to the channel, like this video, subscribe to the channel. It's also be available on the podcast. We will talk about all of the events that are upcoming as we go through the month. So next week, episode 2, we'll talk about UFC on ABC, Holloway versus Qatar, and some of the other great fights that are on that card as well. I'll be doing my fight predictions, and we'll do a review of the fighters that are on there. A couple of dark horses on that card as well, a couple of new up-and-coming fighters who I believe have got some mega levels of talent as well. Hopefully we'll get somebody else on to talk about those fights. If not, it'll be my boring voice. So, like it, loathe it, it's up to you. One thing I do know is I like talking about combat sports. So I'll see you on the next episode. And so from me, see you later.